Welcome to Liberec, Czechia's fifth biggest city in the heart of the Jezero Mountains. The station itself was founded in 1859 and was a part of the 160-kilometer-long Liberec to Pardubice route. It seems that there are locks missing in the yellow folder. Let's go and fix that. Look at both sides before crossing the rails. You will find many variations of those holders empty along the route. Try to fill them, and also find all the missing locks. Let's go and catch your train on another platform. The route was built between 1856 and 1859, and you will find many landmarks here, including Jestedt Television Tower, Hruby Rohozet's Castle, and Pantheon Chapel near Mala Scala. You will operate passenger services with Class 843, both stopping and express trains, with a variety of interesting scenarios. Yet some can be really difficult. You will also get to operate the iconic Class 750, nicknamed Goggles, with a variety of freight trains, including typical manipulation trains stopping at each station. Good luck! Welcome to the Training Center. Today you will learn the basic operations of the Czech Class 843. Open the battery cover and set the switch on the batteries to get electric power. Give the display a few seconds to boot up, then switch the master key to the rightmost position to activate this cab. See the black page after the display has loaded. On this page, you can see information about this train, such as which vehicles are present, their length, weight, and other properties. Press Enter to acknowledge new train information and cancel the present failure. Set the reverser to position D, engine only. In this position, you can start the engines. The engine selection switch decides which engine to start. The Class 843 has two diesel engines, and this way you can start or shut them down. Positions in the left controls this vehicle, and positions in the right control other vehicles in the train. Start by setting the switch to left position 1. Now, hold the green start button until the engine starts. It is necessary to hold the button, otherwise the engine won't start. Set the engine selection switch to position 2 to select the other engine. Now set the reverser to position P, forward. Set the brake cutout switch to the cut-in position so you can start filling the brake pipe and release the brakes. Set the throttle and brake lever to the J position. In this position, the locomotive would start filling the brake pipe and release the brakes. Hold the throttle and brake lever in the S position. In this position, you can increase the set power to get the train moving. You can see the set power on the display going between negative 100%, 0%, and 100%. The power will increase as long as you hold the lever in this position. After returning the lever to the J position, the set power will be maintained. You can also decrease the set power in the V position. Decrease the set power to under 30% as the speed reaches 55 kilometers per hour, and then apply the power again. You have now triggered the field weakening. It also activates automatically around 70 kilometers per hour, but in some cases it is more suitable to do it this way, so it will activate earlier. In a similar way, you can also control the electrodynamic brake. Decrease the power back to 0% and then hold the throttle and brake lever in BE position to increase the braking power. Set braking power can be then decreased in the J position. Now decrease the power back to 0% and hold the throttle and brake lever in the BP position. This position applies the pneumatic brakes. Those can also be released in the J position. Great job! You have learned some of the basics. You can continue to more training courses or start driving the 843 hauled services now. Hello, driver. Welcome to the training center. Today we will explore the Class 843, and you will get to know some new and interesting things about it. Start by approaching the train. Let's begin our walk around by checking the exterior. Check that the buffers aren't pushed inside. Continue by looking under and checking that nothing is hanging from the bogies. Also check that the fuel caps aren't missing and air intakes aren't full of grass or snow. Great. Now that we have checked and everything is all right, you can board the train. Here we are looking at the RTO. You can operate train heating and lights from here. It is also possible to turn on the engine preheating here. Proceed further into the train. We will stop at the air cabinet. Here you see the red air valves coming into and from the BSE indirect brake controller. Close all of them if you need to tow this train. Those electro-pneumatic valves belong to the BSE, indirect brake controller. Valves YB and YR are braking valves, where YR controls the emergency braking. Valve YO is for releasing. YZ controls brake cutout, and YS is for the quick release. Those electro-pneumatic valves belong to the BPE direct brake controller. Valves YV70 and YV71 are braking and releasing valves. Valves YV81 and YV83 control the parking brake. Valves YV82 and YV84 then control the complementary brake, which applies in case the electrodynamic brake isn't strong enough. You can find two red handles behind the dark boxes. Those valves can close the air connection between the bogies and the rest of the air system. Here is the brain of this vehicle, the central computer and traction regulator. As the Class 843 trains were created between years 1995 and 1997, some of the components still use analog control circuits. Here also lies the GM15 signal converter, which converts all signals between their analog and digital representation. Below, you can find some important breakers, which control diesel engines and traction engines. Breakers here control practically everything on this vehicle, ranging from simple things like wipers to more important things like the central computer or regulator. Switches here can switch between normal and backup type of regulation. You can also Here you see the voltage and ampermeters. Check the leftmost ampermeter after starting if the batteries are charging. The most important switch below is the second one from the left, as this switch can turn off the electrodynamic brake. Use this when you have issues with the electrodynamic brake. That is all for today, driver. Good luck on the rails. Hello, driver, and welcome to the training center. Today you are going to learn some basics of operating the Czech Class 750 locomotive. Open the doors to the electric compartment and switch on the battery's handle to get some electric power. Insert the reverser and move it forwards to the engine-only position. The engine can only be started in one of the two engine-only positions. Hold the green start button until the engine starts and revs up to 480 RPM. You can speed up the compressor by increasing engine RPM if you have the reverser in the engine-only position. Wait until the brake pipe is filled and the brakes release. We have a bit of time to say some basic things about how to drive this locomotive. You need to monitor the ammeter when driving. Try not to exceed the red mark starting at 2400A. You can temporarily overload the locomotive, but doing so for prolonged periods of time could lead to damage. You should start by first setting the regulator to first notch and waiting until you see some current on the ammeter. Then, you can start to increase the power. Wait until the brakes are released and try that for yourself.
Similar things apply when lowering the power to neutral. Wait on the first notch until the traction current drops down, and then move the regulator to the neutral position. Good job! You have learned some new things today. Welcome to another Class 750 tutorial. Today we will learn some basic banking operations. Start by inserting the reverser and setting it to the forward position. There are a few audible signals used for banking operations in Czechia. These can either be honks of the horn or blasts on the whistle. The most important is 3 short signals which tell the banking locomotives to stop applying any power. Another way to tell the banking engine to stop applying power is to use one short signal. For simulation purposes, short signal is any audible signal shorter than half a second. There are 2 ways how to tell the banking engines how to apply power. First one is 1 long and 1 short signals, which tells the engines to apply half power. Second is 1 long and 2 short signals, which tells the engines to apply maximum available power. The banking engines know about track speed restrictions, so in most cases, you shouldn't have to worry about them pushing the train to greater speeds than allowed. However, it is good practice to tell them to stop applying power before you start to brake. Don't worry if you get any of the signals wrong. You can just wait a few seconds and then try that signal again. Now tell the engines to apply full power, 1 long and 2 short signals. You can use both horns and the whistle. Do not apply any power yourself yet, so you can see their effect. Don't forget to tell the banking engines to stop banking by either 1 short or 3 short signals before braking. Good job! You have learned some new things today. Hello, driver. Welcome to the training center. Today we will explore the Class 750 locomotive, and you will get to know some new and interesting things about it. Start by approaching the locomotive. Begin our walk around by checking the exterior of the locomotive. Check that the buffers aren't pushed inside. Continue by looking under the locomotive and checking that nothing is hanging from the bogies. Also check that the drainage valves are closed and the fuel caps aren't missing. Great. Now that we have checked and everything is all right, you can board the locomotive. Then proceed into the engine room. Here you can see cooling towers. Those on the left are responsible for the cooling of the oil circuit. Those on the right then cool down the engine cooling water. Check that we have enough cooling water. Pull out the oil stick from the engine and check how much oil there is.
This is the safety system box. This locomotive is equipped with an LVZ safety system, which is responsible for checking drivers' vigilance and also displays signal code. The latter applies only on routes that are equipped with said system. When you start the safety system, make sure that you have applied the direct brake, put mode switch into the start position, and wait for the white light to be lit. Then, put the switch into the active position. If you need to change cabs, use the switch above and select 1 or 2 as needed. If you want to shut it down, move the mode switch to the banking position. As in, the off position, the air valve won't be powered and you will lose all brake pipe pressure. Now, check that we have enough oil in the compressor. Here you can see the LTR brake distributor. Most of the older Czech locomotives are equipped with this. You can select the brake mode here, disable air braking on the locomotive, and also empty the control reservoir. The yellow box with the valve is the safety system valve. If the safety system or radio aren't powered, air will leak through this valve. If you need to stop it and can't turn on any of those, then close the valve. As you can see, the valve is now closed. That is because you should start this locomotive with both the radio and safety system turned off, as the voltage spikes could damage them. You will learn how to activate those in a minute. Below you can see 2 red valves. Those valves close air pipes to the front and back bogie respectively. If you close them, then the bogies won't apply any braking force. Now proceed into the front cabin and open both doors to the electric cabinet. Here you see battery voltage and ampere meters. The battery should typically have around 110 volts. If the voltage is too low, the engine then may not start. Those 4 switches toggle each traction engine. Be careful and don't operate those if the traction engines are under any power. Here we see 3 switches. The leftmost one is disconnected. The middle one controls the operating mode. If you need to control another locomotive in double traction, put it in the double position. The last switch turns power regulation on or off. The locomotive won't apply any power if that switch is in the off position. The breakers can trip the power to some components on this locomotive. As we've discussed previously, the 2 most important ones are the J15 VZ and RDST breakers. The J15 powers the LVZ safety system, and RDST powers the radio. If any of those breakers are tripped, you need to close the yellow valve in the engine room. Now look at the relays. The first important set are relays RCB, RD, and RE. Those 3 relays control which power notch the locomotive will use. Older Czech locomotives used binary or gray codes to control the power. The second set of relays are relays RS1, RS2, and RS3. Those are the wheel slip relays. Regulation checks the voltage difference between traction engines, and if any of those are big enough, it will trip said relay. The locomotive would then automatically lower power until the wheel slip stops. The last important relay is the RP. This relay controls field diversion, which happens at around 60 kilometers per hour. But it is decided by generator voltage and current, so it can also happen at higher speeds if you have lower notches selected. Lastly, here are the schematics of the most important electric systems of this locomotive. Below, you can also see traction characteristics and Koref's diagram of the Class 750.
Now, close the doors and sit in driver's seat. Insert the reverser and put it in the first position forwards. You can only start the engine only in the diesel engine only positions, which are both first forward and back from neutral.